Meatball Ron's returned to his home state of Florida with a brand new appreciation for reality. And the current reality in the most unreal state of the union is that weed for the people will be on the ballot at the end of this year. That's right, y'all. Fresh off the suspension of a failed Republican presidential bid where he was barely able to poll higher than a woman who refused to say civil war was about slavery, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis now says a marijuana legalization initiative will in fact be on the state's November ballot. A move Marijuana Moments' Kyle Yeager says is a favorable legal outcome for activists in the Supreme Court in the face of a challenge from Attorney General who's seeking to block the vote. Per the article, days before dropping out of the race for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination, DeSantis was asked about the prospect of legalization making the Florida ballot by cannabis lobbyist Don Murphy. DeSantis' response, I think the court is going to approve that, so it'll be on the ballot. It's not totally clear if DeSantis received indication from the court about the status of a case still weighing legal challenge from Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody, or if he's just making a prediction based on the issues at play. But Moody has asked the court to invalidate the measure, despite activists collecting nearly 1 million signatures for ballot placement. Yeager noted that the state official previously successfully petitioned justices to prevent a 2022 legalization initiative from receiving voter consideration, and that won't be the case this round, according to the governor. While he opposes the reform and pledged not to federally decriminalize marijuana if he was elected president when he was running, he says the voters will get a chance to decide on the issue this round. The state Supreme Court heard the oral arguments of the case against the Smart and Safe Florida campaign last November, but it has not issued a ruling yet. It will need to do so by April 1st. Yeager also reported that DeSantis weighed in on another relevant cannabis policy issue last week when he separately told Murphy that he does not believe the federal gun ban for state legal marijuana consumers is constitutional. Florida's former agricultural commission, Nikki Fried, brought a lawsuit against Biden administration over the rule, though the governor did not get involved. Prior to dropping out, DeSantis also said earlier this month that if elected president, he would respect the decisions that states make on marijuana legalization, despite his personal view that the reform has a negative impact. So what do y'all think? Is the failed presidential bid of one Ron DeSanctimonious the best thing that's happened to cannabis advocates in Florida? Will the beat down and battered man most likely next in line for his own Sunshine State medical card now be the cannabis champion the people of Florida need? Or is he just posturing in a thinly veiled attempt to beat fellow Florida man Matt Gaetz to the punch as the pro-cannabis gubernatorial candidate in their inevitable 2026 showdown? I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High at 9 News, asking the tough questions that nobody on the team will have real answers for. What do you think, Jason?
I have real answers for all of these questions, Rico. So first of all, it's to my understanding that Governor DeSanctimonious is basically going to be termed out, so he's not going to be able to run. So there'll be a brand new governor coming into Florida in the next midterm election in 2026. Which will be, I'm telling you, is going to be either Byron Donalds or Matt Gaetz.
Hey, you didn't think it could get worse than fucking Ron DeSantis, right? And Matt Gaetz.
I think those are two fantastic candidates for Florida governor. But I ride way more with Matt Gaetz than Byron Donalds, because Byron Donalds is more of a shill for the machine. He's a McCarthy supporter and whatnot. So. Yeah.
Like the fact that he likes to molest young children.
I'm rolling. He does. That's fake news. I'm rolling with Matt Gaetz all day on this one. Shout out to Matt Gaetz. Shout out to the first district in Florida. And oh yeah, that's right. One more. Got one more down before Trump can be the president. That's what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pathetic.
Jason, did you just say that it was fake news about all that underage prostituting stuff with Matt Gaetz? Like that was completely manufactured by the deep
all
state.
Manufactured, all manufactured by the DNC, the deep state, all of them.
Because I heard the only thing Matt Gaetz hasn't molested in Florida was a manatee, and that's just because they swam faster than him. So I'm just that was cute, Yara. That was real cute. But all of that is all. I mean, you guys did say originally for the first 6 months on the show I was from Florida. I'm just
we all know. Trust me. I know you love the breakers. I know, Yarrow.
What do you think about this one, Mary?
You with us, Mary?
You miss?
Muted.
Oh, you're on mute, Mary. You're on mute,
Yeah,
Mary.
here
There
we
we
go.
go. Yes.
Yeah. I feel like Florida has been in the trenches with cannabis. Like where they are with cannabis is like 50 years behind where California is, and it's very sad. The people need weed, and that's as basic as it gets. And so as far as that goes, that's just how I feel. And whoever's going to bring the people weed is pretty much the person that needs to get in there immediately.
Whoever is going to bring the people weed. Well, here's the thing.
It's as simple as that, truly.
Ron's failed run might actually give him a moment of humility. And with that humility, he may be willing to examine some of his political positions. As we post-mortem his failed run for president, there were a lot of questionable choices he made strategically. And if in this moment of humility, he revisits some of his political positions, for Floridians, that might not be a terrible thing.
Well, go woke, go broke,
It's interesting too, because I know at the top of the year, a GOP lawmaker filed a bill to cap THC percents if a law should pass at 10% THC.
Yeah, I think that's totally ridiculous. That's just a law that's going to flood the trap market, and is going to the trap is going to thrive under that type of a situation. And
in their defense,
of course,
in their defense of that, in their defense, the only real experience that they have with any kind of quote unquote weed in their eyes is when the rise of K2, when Florida men were chewing off each other's face back in the day.
Hey, that was real, bro. That was real. The zombie apocalypse.
Quote unquote synthetic weed.
Yeah.
Remember that? Like,
I do.
It's not.
There was the guy that did like a zombie attack and tried eating those people's face off.
That was Matt Gaetz.
No, that was not. Stop it. Stop the ridiculousness.
They've had medical weed there for a couple of years now, so there's definitely more potent weed than 10%.
How cool will it be when
I think even
how cool will it be? They've had medical since 17. They've had medical for many years.
Several years.
So it's but hubris doesn't exist in politics. That's just not a thing. So it doesn't matter about what lessons are learned. We're never going to get over the hump of cannabis still being the pejorative in the Southeast and definitely in Florida. And there's too many Bible thumpers down there that want nothing to do with it, when in fact, cannabis is like the anointing oil that's spoken in the Bible. And so I love all of the, rhetoric from Florida and from, all these different business owners who have been kind of helping push this along. And there's people there's definitely pro-cannabis business politicians in Florida. Matt Gaetz may be one of them.
He is one of them. He's the champion.
I think that that's kind of why Jason likes Matt Gaetz. I also think because he likes to take the page out of the book, old Trumpy, and he has the Michael Cohen pay off the people, bro. He's never caught with the money with the payoffs. It's always the other guy. He's the guy. He's got the Michael Cohen. Don't worry about it. So let's not hate on Matt Gaetz if he's going to change the tune.
Matt
and change
Gaetz
the
would
tone
be a
down in
champion for Florida and a champion for patients and consumers in Florida. That's just the facts.
I'm not a champion of any man. I'm only a champion of the plan. So if he's going to do that, then that's good.
I mean,
how cool will it be when people in Florida start lab shopping to get a lower potency test so they can get at that 10%, right? They're at 27%. They're like, yo, dog, put 9.99 on that real quick.
They don't have to. They don't have to inflate the test. They don't have
here's
to.
The thing.
They don't have
here's
to
the thing.
Doctor the test up. Their weed is terrible down there. Have you seen the weed growing in Florida? Most of the weed is pretty bad. It's probably in the 9.5% range. So there's some weed in Florida that's really good. Shout out Flowery and Preferred Gardens, all the good people doing good work down there. But there's a lot of troubled gardens down there. So I wouldn't say that 10%. I think 10% is pretty average for Florida weed. So I don't think
hold on, Salman. I think even Bammer weed would test at 10%.
In Canada, boof
just saying.
weed.
Canada boof weed. Canada boof weed would come in at like 12%.
Jokes. We're only kidding here. Much love to the growers in Florida.
Stop the ridiculousness.
We covered that last year, Jason.
Dad grass.
That dad grass that was getting like 10% and less. Like they were talking about, oh, this is gonna be the future. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, ain't no one smoking that. Ain't no one smoking that.
I don't want any 10% weed. I'm a dad.
You smoke 10%
no, but
weed, Todd?
All jokes aside,
I did not become a dad with 10% weed.
That's right.
A father one does not make with low potency cannabis on date night.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but all jokes aside, just from a medical basis, high THC, cannabis, type 1 cannabis, later in the latter years of your life isn't recommended. Higher gradients of other cannabinoids like CBD, CBG, CBC, cannabivarins are also, really, really good in those later years of your life. But high THC and high THC tolerance is a real thing. So it's like we're just teed up, no pun intended, and that's why we have to consume such high amounts and high quantities of THC. It's just because that's our receptors haven't had a break for a long time. I know me and Jason haven't had a break for a long time, but that's just simple. This is just simple physiology.
Saman and Todd, you both have great quantitative minds with testing and numbers and things like this. So Willie Sheets, Vermont Alternative, he says, how much is 10% in Canadian? And I'm willing to bet that that's going to be about a 7.5 or 8%. And I want to know what you guys think.
Willie Sheets, you closer to Canada than all of us, man. So you'd have a better idea.
10% is 10%. Doesn't matter what country you're in.
Are you sure it's the same? It doesn't change in Canada?
10% is 10% because we deliver two numbers on weed. It's milligrams per gram and then percentage of THC. So it could go either way.
Yes, man.
10% is 10%.
10% is still 10% in Canada. Man,
and a 10% cap in Florida,
and a 10%, but it hasn't got passed yet. There's just a lawmaker that's proposing it, and I'm against that proposal. I think that's just a prohibitionist mindset, and he needs to.
It's the worst.
He needs to examine.
The plant will not allow it.
Exactly. He needs to re-examine his choices and maybe read the Constitution in regards to freedom and liberty. And on that, we're going to go to a commercial, and we're going to be right back.
And the pursuit of happiness.
That's right too.